Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys, and as quickly as the group stage began, poof, it has vanished, and it is now behind us at Worlds 2019. It goes so fast, Mark.
You know what, though?
So fast.
As a North American fan, I'm going to say I'm happy it's over. I'm happy it's gone. Give me 2020's group stage already, please.
Listen, I'm going to save you the trouble right now. It's going to be the same result. This endless cycle continues where, you know, someone performs well, Team Liquid wins 4 in a row. This is it, boys. This is the year. It's 3-3. That's how it finishes in the group stage. 1 game away. That's just the NA special. But we got to look at the 4 major regions, look back at the group stage, and just kind of recap their performance overall. And let's start with those North American boys because we got to recap the teams that we won't be seeing from again. So this is also a farewell and an ode to the 2019 World Championship for North America. It was probably the worst group stage performance ever, probably at least the worst since 2015, which is the last time that nobody made it to top 8.
I'm putting the stamp on it. This is absolutely, for me, without a doubt, the worst performance by North America at Worlds. And it's unfortunate here when you think about what's been going on, and especially where do you go from here is kind of the questions that you got to be asking as a region and as these teams specifically, because all across the board, there were multiple levels of failure here for the 3 squads that North America sent. And of course, at the very top of it, it's got to be the best, most accomplished, best prepared veteran squad that North America has ever sent to Worlds. And they still could not get that 4th win to get out of groups.
And, you know, to be fair, they had what ended up being a difficult group based on how good Damwon looked. And also, you saw that we played 18 games for the LCS squads, and there was really 1 win that was impressive. And it was Team Liquid. They beat Damwon, handed them their only loss in the group stage, but the other 4 wins were against AHQ and Hong Kong Attitude, who went 0-6.
All LMS squads here, and that's really been proving the point. When you look at the rest of the regions and how they have been performing, there is very clear at the top. Right now, at least, it's Korea, quickly followed up by EU and the LPL with China. But then you're looking at a big gap here down to 4th with North America, and then the LMS even further behind North America here. So this is certainly something here when you're only picking up 4 out of your 5 wins against a region that is still below you in that type of ranking. It is not looking good, and this is certainly not the performance given the way and the teams that you sent here to this World Championship. This is absolutely probably the worst possible result, and the only way that it gets worse is if you actually picked up no wins.
Yeah, and I think Team Liquid, people are immediately going to look to Jensen. Doublelift already made a video saying it's not just him, blame the whole squad. Impact had a rough game, but he had the other 5 games, I think he performed pretty well in that top lane. Overall, we just still didn't see the same level of Team Liquid that we saw in North America, and that's the theme that always happens with NA teams.
Never seeing that full potential realized on the world stage. Definitely when you're looking at this squad as a whole here, I think, especially when you're considering the MSI performance here for them, you're looking at Smithy definitely had a bounce back performance on the international stage. Another solid performance from your bottom lane with Doublelift and Core JJ, but this time it was absolutely the solo lanes as a whole throughout the tournament, not getting the job done consistently enough.
And for Team Liquid, they were 1 game away. They probably weren't the most disappointing performance from the North American teams. Cloud9, their week 2 was absolutely abysmal, and there was some expectations here that they could at least take 1 game from Griffin or G2. This was the closest they were to getting a win against Griffin in week 1, but the week 2 Cloud9 that showed up, we never even saw a sign close to this of them from the North American scene.
No, and it really does start to raise questions here moving forward here for Cloud9, given, you know, what was exactly going on here week 1.
Oh, the communication!
The switches between Blabber and Svenskeren, and then you get into week 2 and the performances here going on from this team, and just the total lack of coordination, I would say, on the whole part. Not the performances you wanted to see. And again, raises those questions here. What do you do as Cloud9 as an organization moving forward? Because even here, even in your longest tenured member here in Sneaky, you had some some performances here that you would not be wanting to look back on here with any type of right. This is not the performances that Cloud9 wanted, and this is not the type of look that they needed.
And even though Clutch are the only LCS team to ever go 0-6 in a group stage. They definitely weren't the most disappointing team. They go into the group of death. You really have no expectations for them to compete for a top 2 spot. And yeah, they didn't get a single win, but there was a lot of close games. They played their closest games against Fnatic, really made them sweat in both of them.
I'm willing to give it here for Clutch Gaming to give them some type of positives in this one, which
great call here, by the
way. Okay, this is not the time to be talking about positives for Clutch Gaming. This was a little bit of NA solo queue action going on in that one. But I think that they did show enough here, at least as the 3rd seed here from North America, and especially here, given what you knew and expected for Clutch Gaming heading into this year, to see them here at this level, at this point of the season, still performing and getting stuff done. And hey, I give them the credit that they deserve here. In a couple of those matches, they were finding some early advantages. They were in the driver's seat for some of that time there, just still not good enough to close it out in those ones in that group.
If you're an NA fan, at least in 2020, you got Dignitas, Immortals coming back. So that's something for you to look forward to, because Worlds 2020, it's all going to be the same. Let's talk LPL, because we got 2 out of the 3 squads advancing to the quarterfinals. 2018 was the year of China and the year of the LPL. It wasn't quite the same case here in the group stage. It was underwhelming, I think. There was a lot of hype, especially around Fun Plus. IG are still the defending champs. RNG always perform at international events, and it was a little topsy-turvy for the Chinese teams.
When you had, coming into this Worlds here, you had kind of Korea coming back onto the world stage, looking to improve on their results from last year's Worlds, but kind of standing there already in the shadows, lurking around there, waiting to lay down a beatdown. I thought was going to be China with the LPL. I thought a lot of these squads here were super polished and ready to put down a hurt down, beat down here on the rest of the Worlds at this tournament. But you didn't see it here from the majority of these squads. Yes, you saw a lot of good play in the end when you're looking back on IG and FPX, and I still think that RNG is a very strong squad, but at the end of the day, it wasn't enough to get through.
Yeah, and RNG, I think, is definitely a team that's good enough to be top 8 material. You throw them in Group B, they're getting out of that group. It's just they were in the unfortunate realm of Fnatic and SKT, and this is the first time Uzi has not made it out of groups that he's been at a World Championship, and he's been here a lot.
Yeah, he's been here a lot, and he's had a lot of unreal performances, and I want to say right now that this is the best Worlds performance that I've ever seen from Uzi, and it's so unfortunate that we're having him bounce from this part of the tournament this early, given the form that we were seeing him in here, but it just is not enough for RNG.
You know he'll be back here again, and deservedly so, because he's still one of the best AD carries in the world. Fun Plus and IG, don't worry if you're an LPL fan, they did get through. Fun Plus, it was not at all as anyone was predicting. The way they got through the group stage, needed to go to a tiebreaker against Splice. You saw this dominant win against J-Team to get to that tiebreaker, which is what we were expecting them to do, 6 games in a row in this group, but I don't know if I have tons of confidence in them still heading into the knockouts.
I think right now, for FPX, it's been a complete mixed bag, because we have seen Doinb show up as the super carry mid laner. Doinb, we have seen Gimgoon pump out that damage. We have seen Tian be a strong jungler, but of course, at the exact same time, we have seen what is such a key part of the formula here for FPX and getting that damage and being successful in LWX performance in the bottom side. We have seen him go a little bit too crazy, a little bit too strong sometimes with his choices of engages, and that has certainly cost the FPX squad. So if I think here heading towards the quarterfinals, if that is a little bit more stable here, I full on expect the FPX squad to show us some of that strength that we saw from them, and consistency, more importantly, in the summer split.
And IG's a team that absolutely needs consistency as well. They're still the defending world champions, and one thing we know for sure is the Shy is very much in his world championship form. Rookie is getting closer to that, but for me, the Shy absolutely carried a lot of these games for IG.
The Shy said here, hey, you played that Aatrox impact into Nuggery's Vlad and you did okay, but that's because he was taking something called Klepto. I'ma take phase
I don't
rush.
mess around, man.
I'ma show you the real power of the Hemomancer here, and he certainly did in that matchup against Team Liquid. IG showing us some of that strength, and I think here again, hey, they've rolled back to Ning when it mattered most here on that day 2, week 2 of the group stage situation here, and that coin flip jungler Well, that coin flip turned out in favor of IG 2 out of the 3 times that they needed moving forward. I think that is the type of mentality that they're going to be putting into these quarterfinals.
And if you're an LPL fan, remember, IG was the 2nd seed last year, so look out Griffin in the quarterfinals. Coming up after the break, the LCK 2018 was a time to forget, but 2019, they again looked like the best region in the world. We are back, you beautiful people. It's Liga Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys as we recap the wild and fun action that was Group Stage 2019. We're going through all the regions, kind of grading their performances without actually giving a grade, except North America gets an F. That's all we'll say. Is it an F, though? It might be an A for their standards.
Oh, yikes, man.
We'll give them a B+. That's what they get.
You know what? No, to be fair, they get the window seat on the plane ride home. That's what I
Yeah, that's good. But somebody's getting the aisle and getting hit by the food cart, which is no fun. But we're talking LCK now because this is the redemption year after 2018. The gap is closing meme was in full force. Gen G went 1-5. No Korean teams in semis. Well, the group stage went pretty damn well for them. We're talking 3 first seeds for 3 Korean teams.
Can we swap places with the LCK in the sense that, like, your worst possible year last year was actually having teams get out of groups at the World Tournament here? That would be real nice as North America. But
I don't think they'll ever get there. I'm sorry to say.
Oh, well, we can dream. But the dreams here are reality here for Korea, making it to this type of spot here. 16-3 record through this group stage this year. Major bounce back performances here from the squads. And again, the big thing here is that, yes, you sent SKT to this tournament. You're returning big time, big dog champion. But here, you're still sending in these young gun squads here with the Griffin squad. And of course here, our challenger squad in Damwon here getting through. This is a full redemption story for the LCK in 2019.
Yeah, and I think obviously the reason Group C was a group of death is because SKT's in it. And a lot of the times, the scariest groups are the ones that have overall favorite tournament favorites in them. You saw a lot of different play styles and team comps from SKT, and I think that one loss that they did have to Fnatic, hey, kudos to Fnatic. They played super well, absolutely deserved that win. But heading into these best of 5s, I think SKT, and it seemed like a lot of the other teams, this is the scariest team, the one you did not want to draw. RIP Splice.
Yeah, this is certainly one where it seems like Splice has taken the hit here for the rest of the EU region, but hey, that's what you gotta ask your 3rd seed to do here, especially with all 3 seeds getting out of the group stage here at this point. But when you're looking at what the LCK is bringing to the table here throughout this group stage, it is the full-on redemption that they wanted here. This is the domination that they wanted to show on the world stage here. And again, not only from SKT in your big-time telecom company team, you still got the job done here from Griffin and the Young Guns in Damwon were strong enough, and I think Damwon especially impressive on that week 2 performance here in their group stage.
I mean, for Griffin, they probably had the most dominant stretch into the knockout rounds and maybe had put out the most fear because they beat G2, who obviously were favorites right behind SKT, and they completely dismantled them twice in a row. You heard some of the G2 members kind of talking about it, saying, okay, maybe we didn't quite put enough respect onto Griffin, but you had not seen anyone do this to G2 in the entirety of 2019. Even the games that Fnatic won were not this one-sided, and Griffin did it 2 games in a row.
This is the treatment that G2 usually does to other teams in this type of situation, but it was absolutely Griffin laying down the beatdown. And a major important factor here for me with this performance from Griffin is, yes, of course, you had the usual suspects here performing at their key strength here. Chovy really dishing out the punishment in the mid lane, but I really was impressed here so far with the performance of Sword on this part of the group stage. Really stepped up his performance, and it was necessary to give them that level of stability here at that point, especially into a team like G2.
Sword still had some questionable moments, and that matchup against IG,
I'm willing to take it at
gonna
times.
Be rough.
I'm willing to take Sword at times in this one,
rough.
given those performances, but you are certainly right. That one looking forward, man, the Shy is a bully to anybody.
That's probably the worst draw Griffin could have hoped for, is having that just massive mismatch in the top lane with the Shy, maybe MVP of the group stage, going up against Sword, who obviously has had his struggles. We'll see if Doran gets some starts in that top lane. The 3rd team, LCK, Damwon, listen, they went through the playing stage for the first time ever for a Korean squad. There were tons of question marks. People were saying this team could either finish first or third in this group, depending on how they show up. But they showed up big time. They went toe-to-toe with IG, back-to-back games. Showmaker absolutely lived up to the hype. They went 5-1 without Nuguri getting even close to reaching his full potential.
That's kind of the really exciting thing here is that, yeah, you had a couple of good performances here from Nuguri, and especially a couple of them here, especially into this IG series here, where he's able to, get kind of given a hard treatment in the early part of the game and still manage to have some type of impact here later on. But yes, so far from Damwon Gaming, the big performances that we have seen have come from the mid laner Showmaker. He's really shown us exactly what you want to have from this point. And at this point in the tournament here, to have a superstar in the mid lane perform the way he does is a massive boon here for this Damwon squad. And one here that they are going to have to rely upon in their matchup against G2.
And can some people put respect on Nuclear's name? People were saying this bot lane is going to be a huge issue, a big weakness for them going up against Doublelift and Jackie Love. Nuclear was fantastic in pretty much all 6 games for them. He was huge in that crazy game against IG. You don't need a very deep champion pool these days to play the marksman down there. As long as you have one mage pocket pick, you can play Xayah and Kai'Sa. You're good to go, man.
I mean, there's always Ezreal. There's always lots of options in that spot, and especially when you're talking about Nuclear getting it done. This was a spot that we thought the other teams in this group would take advantage of, but just not enough coming from there. Definitely held his own. Thumbs up.
I think 2018 will definitely go down as an anomaly for the LCK underperforming in a huge way. Coming up after the break, it was supposed to be the year of EU, and, well, it continues to be 3 for 3 into knockouts. How well did EU perform? Beautiful people, we are back here, League Unlock. Eric and Mark with you guys, looking back at major regions' performances in the group stage, and now we have fallen onto the LEC, the land of Europia. And Mark, please tell me that the NA versus EU rivalry is fully dead and buried, because it's not a rivalry.
I don't know if
it's not close.
I don't know if can you have a rival when the other region isn't
It's not a rivalry.
It's not a major region anymore.
No.
I think at the end of this Worlds, that's kind of sadly and not to my choice here, but I think that's got to be the end result here is that North America
Dead.
No longer a major region.
They don't deserve to be part of this rivalry.
You're the little brother punching up at the big brother here. And hey, as a little brother, I got lots of respect for you, but you're still the little brother to EU.
The only argument now is 0-3 for NA getting out of groups. 3 for 3 for the LEC. They had a incredible group stage run, and there were...
Yeah, but EU got all the easy groups.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, Group B was easy, so therefore they had all the easy ones. Splice, by the way, I mean, they beat FunPlus and earned that spot. Obviously, G2 were the titans and giants of EU, and that's what people were saying coming into this, because everyone was talking about Europe as maybe the second best region in the world, but it was really, well, just G2 is the best team, and they're carrying this entire region. And they didn't even get first in their group, so they're not carrying the whole region.
So I think that's actually the only real disappointment, I think, for any LEC fan right now is to look at G2, and it's not much of a disappointment to still get out of your group and to still have the performances that you did have here. Again, a little bit of a slip up here, kind of taking your foot off the gas and not realizing here that, well,
Griffin's actually really good.
You've got a full 18-wheeler called Griffin coming at us here, ready to stomp through and take our Nexus down, and that's exactly what happened in those 2 games here. I got full faith that the G2 will return to the G2 that we have seen them play at for the majority of this year, and especially heading into their matchup against Damwon. This is going to be one of the most interesting quarterfinals that I think we've ever had here, the way that these 2 teams can match up against each other, but I still have full faith in G2 representing EU to the very best of their capabilities and still remaining as their top choice here, which, hey, as we talk about the other 2 here, you'll see is saying quite a bit that I've got that much faith still in G2, given the strength of the other 2 squads.
Yeah, and for Perkz and the boys, I mean, they did not even get close to playing their best games on the Rift. It's maybe a good wake-up call for them that Griffin pumped them 2 games in a row so that they can really buckle down and get serious heading into these best of 5s. But man, now as a second seed, that path to a world championship, you got to beat Damwon and then probably SKT after that. You got to beat the best of the best, but the journey gets a lot harder now for G2.
Hey, they took one for the team here, getting to that second seed to make sure that no European team would be facing off against each other in these
Way to go,
quarterfinals.
boys. Looking out for the
way to
boys'
take
place.
one here for the region G2.
Fnatic obviously had the hardest draw. They were the absolute group of death. People were writing them off, but we always had some faith that they might actually be better than RNG. And listen, Fnatic, they were basically put in the exact same scenario as Team Liquid. A do-or-die game to close out the day against an LPL squad that looked pretty solid so far on the group stage. The only difference is, well, Fnatic came in clutch. That's what happened. They didn't, not clutch gaming. They came in huge when they needed to get the win, and they also had that win against SKT. Week 2 for Fnatic is a different buff than even other EU teams.
I gotta say though, you gotta give some credit here over to those clutch gamers, because I think without those type of performances and without those close matches,
They trained them.
absolutely needed that little bit of a tune-up, little bit of that wake-up call of, oh boy, we're about to lose to these clutch gamers here. We gotta get it together here, boys. They got it together big time with the 3-0 performance here in this part of the weekend to get this win here. Major victory for the European region, and especially here again, not even just for the region, but for Fnatic fans specifically, Reckless fans, these type of people. This was an amazing day for them, and to get that type of vindication, that type of success and glory here, that ecstasy from winning that type of game in a tiebreaker for everything on the line, feels good, man.
And Nemesis, man, his first huge international performance. He gets a win against Faker. He goes toe-to-toe with Xiaohu. He had an incredible group stage performance. Fnatic mids, man. It's not just EU mids. It's Fnatic mids. And let's not sleep on Splyce either. They were so close. They were one game away from finishing first in that group. Can you imagine in a world where you could have had Splyce against Fnatic, except Splyce is the 1 seed in that quarterfinal?
That would have been really crazy here, but you got to give the credit through to the Fnatic squad. Sorry, not the Fnatic squad. Yes, they got their credit. It's time for Splyce to get the credit, making it through. Group B, not exactly the group of death that everyone was really calling it to see that, yeah, this is not going to be super tough. It was actually, I think, a lot tougher than a lot of people would think, but not because of the way that it was for FPX at the top. I think, again, the way that Splyce came into this group, the way that they brought into the draft here, things like the Cho'Gath for Vizicsacsi, I think this was a phenomenal job here and about as good as you could expect here from a 3rd seed. And hey, Splyce heading into this one against SKT, your back is up against the wall, but there was another time that an EU squad had their back up against it here into the SKT match, talking about Misfits in 2017. They came so close to toppling down the SKT Titans here. See if Splyce and the squad can do it.
I will say SKT looks a whole lot better in 2019 than they did at the 2017
Yeah,
World
but see,
Championship.
this time the difference is, no, Misfits didn't have my boy. Splyce has got my boy, Norskeren in that bottom side.
Yeah, Norskeren had some highly suspect games in
but
that group
it's
stage.
because he's trying to bait in the unkillable Demon King. They're making
that's
a
smart. Let's
fake
see the
play.
Blitzcrank.
There
See if
it
he
is.
can one up Mickey. The EU Blitzcranks were not something great to see in that group stage. But for Fnatic, you're very happy with the knockout draw. I think Fun Plus is obviously the best pool one you could have gotten when there are 3 Korean seeds on the opposite side. That's it today for League Unlock. Eric and Mark here with you guys as always. Thanks for hanging out. Catch you on the flippity flop.